week.
No worries, no worries. Owusu-Ansah.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
It can be a tongue twister. So.
Before we get started, I'm just making sure everybody gets in. It's 12 o'clock. I'm gonna give them 5 more minutes.
All right.
More like 3 more minutes, and we'll get started. Everybody, I will record this session so that we could definitely play it back because the information here is going to be priceless, and I just want to thank Mike and Akwasi for taking time out on a Friday afternoon to do this and for us, and I'm very excited to have them here as well. Mike, yesterday I went to a Yankee game against the Detroit Tigers. It was the slowest game ever, but the Yankees still won.
Well, I know I told you I was a Giants fan, but that's actually the only New York team I like. My dad's from Boston, so I grew up a Boston fan for every other.
Oh man.
Yeah, we have the games this weekend. Red Sox are they in New York this weekend?
No, because trust me, because it was and then the president came to the game. So if it was a Boston versus Yankees, the tensions would need more security.
Yeah.
There would definitely need more security for that game. All right, so guys, let's get started. I'm gonna get started. My name once again is Roger Maloney. I am the Associate Director for Alumni Career Services. And one of the things that we do at St. John's, we're so proud to do, is to make sure that we give you quality guest speakers to help you on your job seeking journey. And one of those things that we want to do, and I'm so glad that I reached out to Mike Westwell. I'll definitely introduce him in a minute, and Akwasi, is that they work at Indeed. And I know a lot of St. John's job seekers always tell me that, Roger, I've applied to Indeed. I haven't heard anything. Roger, I'm switching careers. I'm looking to do this. I'm looking to do that. So I was like, especially, I'm glad that Akwasi is here because he's also VP of technical recruiting, and he's definitely going to dive into more and give you guys some strategies and some tips. So what I want to do now is, Mike, you can start first. Just briefly introduce yourself. Tell everybody about a brief bio about you and what you actually do at Indeed.
Sure. Do you want me to go ahead and share my screen now? Because we did put together that presentation.
Yeah. Let me know if you're good to go with that.
Let me see. I can do it in slideshow. You seeing it?
Yeah, I see it. Can everybody see it? Everybody's good?
Everybody's good. All right. I'll just go to quickly, Akwasi and I are both going to talk a little bit about our career journey, but I do have a couple of slides just to tell you a little bit more about Indeed as well. I have a couple of tips and tricks and just things to keep in mind in terms of just a job search strategy. And then Akwasi will kind of share just how to make the most of using Indeed as a platform. So we will have time for Q&A. So if you have questions at the end, Roger, I know you had a few questions also, but we'll make sure we answer any questions you have as well as we go through this. Okay. But just quickly on myself, I'm a director of talent attraction now at Indeed, but I've been in recruiting 20 years or so. I do have a link to my LinkedIn profile up there if you want to take a peek afterwards in more detail. But I've been in recruiting about 20 years. Funny enough, I think like a lot of recruiters, I kind of fell into recruiting. It's not something I went to school for or studied in college, but early on after graduating college, I actually had my resume posted on Monster at the time. Got a phone call from a small recruiting firm in upstate New York where I'm from. Didn't know anything about recruiting or the recruiting industry, but took the interview and was interested in what I heard and have been in recruiting ever since. I didn't put that company here because I was only there a couple of months, but I ended up moving down to New York City to work for Aerotech. For those who are familiar with Aerotech, we're a large U.S. staffing firm, one of the larger ones in the U.S. It actually, how it happened, I actually ran into one of my brother's friends who worked at Aerotech in the city. He was telling me more about the culture and the training and the growth opportunities there. And just being a larger company, I decided to take the plunge. So I moved to New York City, worked at Aerotech for 4 years in their scientific division. So I did a lot of work with pharmaceutical companies and over-the-counter like nutraceutical type of companies. But realized staffing, it's kind of a sales environment. Realized that wasn't what I wanted to do long-term. So I decided that I wanted to make the move to internal in-house recruiting. So just through an application process, landed a job at Pfizer. Was at Pfizer for 7 years there in the corporate headquarters on 42nd Street there in New York City. Pfizer, worked in a lot of different functional areas, started as a recruiter, was promoted to manager, senior manager. So I was leading teams of recruiters there at Pfizer. So worked there for a while, loved my time there, had a lot of growth and development, but for personal reasons, decided I wanted to move. My wife and I wanted to move out of New York City, the New York metro area. So we moved out to Colorado. I worked for a company called Ball. They're not always a household name, but they're a large global, like Fortune 300 manufacturing company. I led their North America recruiting team for a couple of years there at Ball. We focused a lot on corporate functions recruiting, but it was heavily kind of supporting manufacturing recruiting. So I did that for a couple of years until I got a call from my previous manager at Pfizer, who is now leading the North America recruiting team over at Stryker, which Stryker is a global medical device company, if you're familiar with them. But gave me the opportunity to make a move, moved over to Stryker. I was doing IT recruiting there for a couple of years when that same manager ended up leaving and going to Indeed. She was at Indeed for a year before she gave me a call again. Offered an opportunity. So I moved over to Indeed 4 years ago. Started as a manager of sales recruiting, was promoted to senior manager of sales recruiting for North America. Eventually took on global sales recruiting for Indeed. And then within the past year or two, I took on an even broader role where I now lead the global recruiting team that supports all of our corporate functions recruiting and all of our sales recruiting globally. And about 6 months ago, was promoted to director. So that's what I do today. I'm director of talent attraction, leading corporate functions and sales recruiting for Indeed as a company. Really enjoy it. I love managing teams. I love helping coach people and helping them grow and develop in their careers. Work very closely with business leaders to understand what their needs are from a talent perspective and help build out some robust recruiting strategies to help find the right people to meet their needs so they can focus on delivering their business outcomes. So it's a little bit about me. Happy to answer any questions in more detail afterwards as well. But Akwasi, I'll turn it over to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike. Hello, everyone. My name is Akwasi. I'm a senior technical recruiter here at Indeed. Been at Indeed for about 4 years, based in Miami, Fort Lauderdale area, remote. I'll go through a little bit of my career journey. As you can see, I'm a thrill seeker here as far as the picture. So that's kind of what my career journey has been. So I went to Indiana University, Pennsylvania. I played football there, if any of y'all are familiar. It's a Division II school. So I wasn't bred to be, like I played at Bama or Ohio State or anything to become a pro athlete. But going into my senior year, I had a chance to play in the NFL. So actually, my first career out of college was professional sports. So I bounced around about 3-4 years, multiple teams there, and then went to the Canadian Football League, lived in Toronto for about 3 years, which was an amazing time there. And I know we have a couple questions that may come up later about career transition. That's basically what I had to go through. So went to the CFL, played 3 years there. When I was getting into my 30s, I kind of think, what is the next step for me? And talking about career transition and what I wanted to do. Ultimately, I ended up doing student athlete development at Western Carolina University. I knew I still wanted to be around sports, but I didn't want to coach. That was kind of like the typical thing, former player going into coaching. But I was like, how can I impact students and still be related to sports in different ways? So at Western Carolina, I was in charge of student athlete development for 5 teams there. It was like volleyball, golf, men's soccer, women's soccer, so on and so forth. Did that for a couple of years, but realized higher education can be limiting. And Western Carolina University was a great school, but it's also in a small town. And I realized I'm a big city kid. So speaking of career transition, I went to a lot of networking events and started meeting people in different industries, so on and so forth, and came across another former athlete who was doing technical recruiting at Amazon. So through that networking event, we're kind of inquiring, and me being a thrill seeker that have any experience in computer science or coding or anything like that, I decided to take the leap and join Amazon. And we could talk more about the transition aspects of that later. Was at Amazon for about 3 years, and then left Amazon to join the great Indeed, which is circled in the middle. So definitely I'll add my LinkedIn link as well. And yeah, excited to talk more about career transition and what we do here at Indeed.
Guys, thank you so much. Mike, my first question for you is, job seekers are one, they're frustrated. Give job seekers some tips on how to use the Indeed platform more effectively. Because what I've been hearing is that a lot of times that people apply online and they're not getting anything feedback back. Why is that? What are your thoughts about that?
So one, maybe I'll hold the using of Indeed because Akwasi will have a whole presentation on how to platform and tips and tricks on the platform. I think there could be a number of things, and I actually can go to one of my slides if you want me to dive in right there.
Yeah, go ahead.
Tips and tricks. I think you need to start with a strategic job search plan. By doing that, you're ultimately going to get more out of your job search results, and I'll talk a little bit about that. But what I would recommend against is doing kind of the spray and pray method where you're just applying to anything and everything, because I think that could be one of the reasons why you're not getting callbacks or getting rejection notifications or getting job search burnout and feeling a little discouraged, right? So I think having a more strategic plan will help you align opportunities with your career goals, with your strengths and experiences and things of that nature. So I think first and foremost, it's good to do some upfront work and be a little bit introspective, where you do want to define what your clear career goals are. What are the short and long-term goals for yourself? And it might even make sense to think about long-term, where do I want to be? Then what are the skills and experiences that I need to get to be able to get me to my long-term goal? Because that could help you be laser focused on what those short-term opportunities are that you need to target to help you build those skills and experience to get you to your long-term goal. I think you want to take stock of what your values are and understand what's important to you and what you want from a company. And as silly as it might sound, even think about the responsibilities. What do you actually want to do day to day? Take inventory of your skills, your strengths, your experience, your skills from a functional perspective. If you're in marketing, what are those key skills you have? Soft skills. Are you a leader? Are you an influencer? Are you a collaborator? And really understanding what your unique value is, that can help you just build a self-awareness, but also confidence. And doing those things can help you be a little bit more strategic in the opportunities that you're applying for, right? So you're better aligned to your career goals and your strengths and experiences. A couple other things I would mention too is do some research. We do have on our platform the ability to look into companies and look at their mission, their culture, their values. You can look at ratings and reviews of people that have worked there, and Akwasi will touch on that in a little bit. But identify what those ideal companies are that you want to target, and try to identify the cultures that you'll thrive in, not just survive, right? And then even take it a step further and look at job titles at those companies and look at the responsibilities, look at the qualifications, because job titles can mean very different things at different companies. And so if you're not doing that research, and if you're just kind of going in blindly to say, I'm a finance manager, I'm applying to finance manager jobs, might be some misalignment in what that actually means company to company. So I think doing that research up front will just help better align your applications to the actual roles that will suit your needs and your aspirations and your skill set a little bit better, which will lead to better results. From just an Indeed perspective, like I said, Akwasi will talk a little bit about that. If there's frustration, there's a little bit of, I guess maybe just clarity on Indeed and who we are. Like, we're a platform where employers can post jobs and job seekers can look for jobs and apply, but we don't play the middleman there. And so if you're not getting callbacks, that's not really Indeed not calling you back, right? It's the company that you apply to not calling you back. So we can't really control that. But what I can say is what we can control is if you do that upfront work and better align what you're applying for with your skill set, your skills, and the right opportunities, to better chance or better likelihood you'll get that callback, you'll get that interview. I know we're here to talk about Indeed, but I would be remiss to say, like, don't put all your eggs in one basket. I think you have to kind of go down a few different channels in your job search. So make sure you have a strong brand presence online as well. Excuse me. Make sure your resume is updated on Indeed and making sure it's public so people and companies can find you. So that's a little bit more of a proactive approach, right? Make yourself available to be found. Have your profile on LinkedIn updated. Have a picture, have a professional picture, have your profile look like your resume. So it's a little bit more inviting. And like I said, it's more of a proactive approach and just making yourself available to be found. I think you also need to prioritize networking opportunities. So a few things there. If you are applying to jobs, I would scour your alumni network and people you went to school with there at St. John's. Are there people that you know that work at the company that you're applying for that can they refer you to the role? Things of that nature, right? Join professional associations in your field of work. Even reach out to recruiters that specialize in placing people in that line of work. So I think all of these things can open up more opportunities for you. If you look at my background, 3 of the 5 jobs I mentioned either came from a personal family friend, or 2 of my opportunities came from a previous manager that I've worked with. So leveraging those networks, leveraging the people you know in your network, whether through school or academia or professional experience, can certainly open up opportunities a lot easier for you as well. So those are the things I would say focus on. Like I said, it is probably more fruitful to do the work up front, because you'll probably get better results in the end by doing that work up front and having better alignment and a strategy in how you're applying to roles.
Thank you so much. Akwasi, question for you. Technical careers, career changers. How do people, if I have a lot of St. John's alumni saying to me, Roger, I was a lawyer, but now I want to get into business analysis, or I want to get into more IT tech careers, since AI is a big thing now. What is your advice for some of our job recruiters?
Yeah, career transition into tech, I think comes down to three aspects. One is first identifying what current skills you have now that translate and is transferable into the tech job that you want to do. You'll be surprised how many people don't really know how many transferable skills you currently use that can be used at a tech company. It doesn't necessarily have to be, like a specific tech coding role as well. So I think that's the first aspect. The second aspect is upskilling, right? Whether that's through certifications, whether that's through coding camps, whatever the case may be, but there has to be a level of upskilling, extra education, a level of upskilling to prepare yourself to be better fit for that role that you're trying to go for. And then lastly, networking. I think Mike mentioned as well, like most of his jobs got through networking. I got my first gig into tech through networking. But it's important, those first 2 sets that I mentioned too, when you do get that opportunity through networking, to make sure you're able to provide a story about how your current skills are transferable to what you're trying to do, right? And what is network? Networking is always like a broad statement. What is networking? That's like putting yourself into spaces where tech companies or tech people are associating, right? They have a thing down here called like Tech Tuesdays or something, which is like twice a month, where it's like a happy hour type thing. But that's an opportunity to meet people in those industries that you're trying to do. So I would do some research on different organizations or communities that's in the tech area industry to network and build off those other things as well.
Thank you so much, guys. You can continue with if you have another slide, that'd be great. And then after that, I'll open it up to questions for everybody that joined, so they can get a chance to talk to you guys if you want.
Nice.
Sure. Yeah, so we could go through our quick presentation. So I think maybe just a level set on Indeed and give some context to Indeed. I think everybody's pretty familiar with Indeed, but I was going to share just a couple of slides on who we are and kind of how we've grown, and Akwasi can kind of go through in more detail how to use it. But we started in 2004, and we started as basically just a basic search engine for people to be able to search for jobs. We've grown quite a bit over those 20 years, and we've become the #1 job site in the world, where 3.3 million companies around the world actually use Indeed to hire. And as a stat, more people actually get hired on Indeed than any other site. And I heard just a statistic this week that every minute, 27 people around the world are getting hired through Indeed. So that's one maybe every 2 seconds or so. So we do have a pretty big presence. We're in 60 countries. We're translated into 28 different languages. So we've really become the go-to site for both job seekers and employers, for literally millions of job seekers and employers every single day. So our reach within the job market, I think, is pretty broad and pretty vast. And we've actually grown as a company as well. We're still a search engine in terms of job seekers being able to search for jobs and apply for jobs. But as I mentioned, we now have our resume database that we've had for a while, so you can upload your resume make it available to be found by employers who are looking for people with your background. We have access to do research on companies. So we have company pages where you can do research on companies. We have a salary tool where you can research salary information on different job profiles in different locations. So you can know, kind of know where you could target what you're worth and what your salary should be, what you should be asking for, things of that nature. We have resume review and writing services, and we have an entire kind of career guide site that is available to job seekers that gives advice on job search strategy and career advice, things of that nature. So those links are embedded in the deck that we can share afterwards, but just wanted to give that context, right? We're broader than just a job search platform. We really are a job site and more of a job marketplace. And then just quickly in the US, 1.2 million companies in the US use Indeed. So still have a pretty big footprint here, obviously. And 4.1 million jobs are added to Indeed each month in the US. And 1.2 billion total ratings and reviews on Indeed worldwide. So one other thing, and Roger, you kind of alluded to this in some of our conversations earlier this week of people maybe being frustrated with Indeed or having a sentiment that maybe some of the roles are fake on Indeed. What I would say is just kind of reiterate what I mentioned before. We're kind of a marketplace platform where we're matching employers with job seekers. When you apply to a job at a company, we're kind of out of control of whether or not they communicate with you or whether or not they reach out to you. It's kind of on them to manage the application process of people coming in. But we do have a trust and safety team that does monitor every job that gets posted to review and try to prohibit any misleading content, such as fake advertisements or things like that. We review for fair and respectful hiring practices to make sure jobs are free for job seekers, that they're posted by authorized company representatives, that we're avoiding discrimination or discriminatory language in job postings. There's ongoing manual and automated reviews for fraud detection. All of this to say is there's a team that's dedicated really to help make sure job seekers and employers are safe, and that the content and the jobs that are available on our site are real and accurate and available to the job seekers. So with that, I talked a little bit about our job strategy plan already, so I'll turn it over to Akwasi to chat through how to leverage the platform.
Nice. So here's the fun stuff: 10 ways to use Indeed like a pro. And I do want to highlight that Indeed.com, as Mike mentioned, is a platform where third-party companies use our platform to host jobs, and then Indeed.jobs is the job site specifically to find roles at Indeed itself. So here, promoting Indeed, Indeed.jobs is for Indeed, Indeed.com is for the roles that other companies are posting. I do want to call out that I'll do a short demo of just walking through the website after this. So I'll go through some of these slides pretty quickly. Some of them is pretty straightforward, so I won't spend too much time on some that's just a quick call out. But at the end, I will do a slight demo just to show how to navigate the site, so on and so forth. So next slide. So like I mentioned, somebody have a question? Oh, no. All right. As I mentioned, first couple slides are pretty straightforward. This is just creating your account. Go Indeed.com, Indeed.com. You should be able to do it. There is a mobile app as well. So don't worry about doing this in real time. You'll have access to these slides to go through and create your profile on your own. Next slide. Another aspect of creating your profile is uploading your resume. And I'll talk a little bit more about this later. That we have a lot of different services that Indeed provides to kind of revamp your resume, improve, get live coaching. Obviously, there's all different type of tools now. ChatGPT, you can use that as well. But part of the experience of creating a profile is uploading your resume, which kind of extracts information to complete your profile. Next slide. I do want to call out here that so when you create a profile in Indeed, the natural default is that it will also create like an Indeed standard structured format resume in addition to the original resume that you upload. So from a recruiter perspective, when we look at a profile and you upload it, we'll see this Indeed structured resume, and then underneath we'll see the original resume that you submitted. Some of the benefits of this structured resume, and I think you might have an option to opt in or not. I'm not 100% sure, but some benefits here is that it's easier to read for employers and recruiters on multiple devices, right? So what your resume looks like on the desktop may not look the same on a phone or tablet, right? So as a recruiter and employer, having this structured format allows us to look at resumes in a more standard format, easier to read, so on and so forth. Another aspect is that we have like a quick apply, like easily apply button to jobs. When it's in this structured format, it allows the job seeker to apply more quickly. Applying to jobs can be long and strenuous and super annoying. And so we try to streamline our process by just having a button where you can quick apply, fill in a couple things, and then you're off to the races. Another thing, and I think Mike called this out earlier, is to make sure my recommendation from a recruiter's perspective is allow your resume to be searchable, especially when you're in the job seeker experience, right? Because a lot of roles that you're looking for, there are people who are searching for great candidates like yourselves. It may not be on the radar for you. So some of the things we put in to search for different candidates with different skill sets, you may come across that when we just look in our general Indeed resume database. Next slide. So resume elements, just following up, I think, so this gives a screenshot of like what it'll look like. It says not searchable at the top. So like when you're creating your profile, I think it gives you an option, but also later on, let's say you are in job seeker mode, but now you're not. I think in your profile and settings, you're able to toggle that on and off. And it gives specific options to input skills and stuff. I think the next slide, I'll go deeper into that. But although when you upload your resume, it extracts information from your resume to complete your profile, there's also an opportunity to input it manually as well. So next slide. Highlighting your skills. I think this is important, like I pulled, like, although you may have skills listed on your resume in the system, right, on your general resume and extracts, when we put in Boolean strings as recruiters to find candidates, it's going to pull from your resume. But this is important as well because it allows for another data point to find you as a candidate, right? So you have your skills listed in your resume, and now you have like a separate Indeed system that lists your skills. So you can go in and list your skills individually, and maybe list skills that's probably not on your resume. Maybe you're more on the hard skills in your resume and you want to list more of the soft skills here in this section, but there's no limit. You can do both. And again, it just allows us as employers and recruiters to find the more data points to find you, right? So, you got skills, boom, boom, we type in the skill, oh, it's not there, but boom, and then it connects with you as a profile. So just want to call that out and highlight that there. Next slide. So these next couple of slides, it's going to be talking about the resources we have in Indeed. Like Mike mentioned, we're not just a job platform. We also have a lot of resources around career advice, interviewing, resume, how to search for jobs, so on and so forth. We also just released a couple new products, which I will talk about later in this presentation about how to navigate careers and stuff, but more of a AI ChatGPT experience. So that's pretty cool. I'm excited to talk about that here soon. But just in general, as a resource, Indeed has a lot of different resources about a lot of different things regarding the interview experience, job search, career transitions, so on and so forth. Next slide. Again, more resources. We kind of alluded to this earlier. You can upload your resume in here and you can have an instant scan that provides real-time feedback. I think you have an ability to actually connect with a person to discuss. So again, we're a one-stop shop to try to give you everything you need to prepare yourself on that job search and make sure you're good. So in addition to your ChatGPT reviews, you can also use Indeed stuff. Next slide. So research companies. I know there's a slide earlier, and I know, Roger, you mentioned that some candidates is like, how do we know if these companies are real and so on and so forth? So we do have an option to, most job postings are linked to a company, obviously, but within that link, you're able to click and open up the company's page. So I think it's important to look deeper into that, look if there's any reviews, how many jobs I have open, so on and so forth. I think one, don't discount like the amount of small businesses we have on Indeed as well. So they may not have this updated as clear as some of the bigger companies, but as a job seeker, I would also cross-reference this with other companies as well. Like if they have a profile here on Indeed, I'll definitely confirm if they have a profile on LinkedIn. and some other stuff. So this is further help legitimate your search and make sure companies are real and not scamming or fake. So next slide. Yes, to see the search. So this slide just talks about how to search for a job. And again, I won't spend too much time on this slide because I'll go through and do a short little demo, but pretty straightforward. And Indeed we're focused on making the job search as simple, as quick, and streamlined as possible. So we have your typical search button and put it in with your location. But there is maybe some tips there that I'll go over. Next slide. These are just extra words. So like as recruiters, I don't know if any of y'all are familiar with Boolean strings. When we want to find specific candidates or a pool of specific candidates with type of skills, we create these Boolean strings. I don't think you have to be as detailed as we do when, as far as searching for jobs specifically, but it would benefit, and I'll show this in the demo to the example I'll use is like project manager, but most project managers can be a program manager as well. So instead of searching individually, okay, senior project manager, senior program manager as separate searches, you can kind of combine those and get a list of both roles. So we'll talk about that. Next slide. Filter your search. Again, this is just part of that job seeker search experience. We have abilities to filter by date. I think it goes by like past 24 hours, past 2 weeks, past couple months, so on and so forth. You have abilities to search by salary. Like I only want to look for jobs 100K and above, which is great. This easy apply button, as I mentioned earlier, those are jobs that allow you just to quickly apply, right? So maybe you start with those, quickly apply, and then those who don't, you go in and do the super long, annoying applications. So these are just extra filter buttons on the job seeker experience. Next slide. Automate your search, and I'll show this as well during the demo, but I think it's super important. So when you go through your job search, you look for jobs and you spend a couple hours searching for jobs. I personally feel like your job search shouldn't just stop there, right? So we have an opportunity to automate your search and you get alerts to your phone. Obviously, you have to have the app downloaded on your phone. And I think if you don't, these alerts will go to your email that you registered with. But here is just a screenshot of where it's at on the job seeker experience. Is usually on the bottom left. And then the picture to the left of that is a notification center. It's just an example of what it'll look like when it reaches your phone, right? So you did a search for X, Y, and Z job. Now you're getting these notifications to your phone to help you apply, which I think can be super beneficial when you're kind of burnt out and done searching. But there is a way to toggle that on and off if it gets annoying as well. So next slide. Easy apply jobs, as I mentioned, that just, I talked about this already, but easy apply, this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like when you're going through that experience. Easy apply, and it just allows you to apply quicker with fewer steps. Next slide. Track your status. This is just a bucket on your job profile to track all your applications, whether it's in the apply stage, you're interviewed, or you just saved, you want to come back. Sometimes you can, in your job search, you can just, I'm not going to apply, I'm just going to save everything, boom, 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 and come back to it later so you can apply. So I'll go through that and to show where that is, but you do have the option to track the jobs that you applied for and save, so on and so forth. And last but not least, this slide basically just, I know a question was waiting for a response. How come I apply to a job and don't hear anything from the companies? From a recruiter perspective, to be transparent, sometimes as an applicant, you can just fall into what we call like a black hole, right? Because there's so many applicants applying for one role that sometimes recruiting teams or hiring teams may not just get to your resume, which is unfortunate now, especially during this time, but that is the reality sometimes of the situation. So I always recommend, if you have an opportunity to, after you apply, connect with someone at the company by sending them a message, an email, so on and so forth, just to make an additional contact in addition to just applying. But it's all about momentum as well. Keep your momentum, keep positive. I know it can be extremely hard. I mean, even on my perspective, hearing candidates' stories about their job search, it can be frustrating. So be positive, keep the momentum going. In addition to applying, try to connect with people, that works at the company through different avenues. Obviously, the search filter button, the past 24 hours, I think the quicker you apply versus applying to a job that's been posted for 2 months, the more likely you get your resume in front of the eyes who need to see it. So, I think the last 2 bullet points, networking, which is extremely important, and then make sure to take care of yourself during this, because I know it can be an emotional thing as well and draining. Next slide. Awesome. So this is the cool new product that we actually just released this past week. So this is called Career Scout. It's basically your personal career coach. This is only available on the mobile device, so you do have to download this on your phone to use it. It's not available on desktop yet, but we have 2 products, basically one for the employer and one for the job seeker. And obviously we're going to show you the one for the job seeker. So it's a cool new product. You can interact with it like it's ChatGPT. AI is the big cool thing that's out right now. So we're obviously implementing that into our products. And here's a quick video. I think it's about 60 seconds to kind of show you. Awesome. Next slide.
I like that. Sorry.
Oh yeah. No,
I like that.
Yeah, the slides are almost over. So if you have questions about it, please ask or drop in the chat. This is a free service as well for job seekers, so you don't have to pay extra to use this. Like I said, you can interact with it. This slide here just shows a screenshot of kind of what it looks like. And the goal of this is make it as personalized to you as a job seeker as possible versus like the general search experience, right? So that's what we're trying to create is how can I make this job search specific to my wants and needs, right? Next slide. And here's an example of like a conversation of what it will look like, right? It says, hi there, Career Scout. I'm Career Scout. Ask me anything about your work life and I'll share. How can I help you? And then you see the different prompts, find job, explore career, so on and so forth. It's super cool. I had a chance to beta test it in the early stages. The next slide, you go to the next slide. To help personalize the experience, they'll ask you like to take a career quiz, right? To try to get to know you better. And obviously it will have your resume already uploaded in the system. So through all this data that they're gathering about you, they're able to make the best recommendations, especially around career transitions, right? You can say, hey, I'm doing X, Y, and Z job. What are some jobs that align with my skills that fit into that tech industry? It says, does Career Scout, I got a question. Does Career Scout also assist with ATS capability for resumes? I would assume so. I don't know, Mike, if you have any extra insight there. I would assume so, especially with Indeed's products. It would format into that way, but outside of that, I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm following the question 100%, but asking if Career Scout helps tailor your resume to different ATS systems. Is that?
Yeah, that's what she responded, yes.
Yeah.
So I don't know 100%. I think what it does is help you tailor your resume to the job itself. So that's one of the important things that we need to do. Or one of the most important thing, not most important, but one of the important things I would recommend job seekers do is not just use a general resume and apply to jobs using a general resume. You want to look at the skills and the experience needed for the role and then tailor your resume to that job. So you can be, so when somebody looks at, a recruiter looks at your resume, those things jump out at them as matching the role. And that's what Career Scout does. So I don't know if it automatically formats different formats, whether it's a PDF or Word, I don't know, but it's going to help tailor your resume to the job. And I think and maybe if what you're asking was with ATS, some ATSs have almost like AI screening capabilities where they're screening out or they're shortlisting or stack ranking candidates' resumes based on their algorithm of how that resume matches up to the job description. And so that's Career Scout could help in that way, where it helps tailor your resume and your skills and experience that align to the job and call those out more on your resume. So if it does go into an ATS that has an AI powered like screening tool, it should be better tailored to that job description and help you rise to the top of the pile in a sense. Hopefully that answers, but yeah, in terms of like an actual format of like a Word document or PDF, I don't know. But if in terms of like helping tailor it to the job and if there's like AI screening on the ATS, it should help be better tailored to the role. Hopefully that helps.
Yeah, I mean, from my experience from using these systems, what is really pulling is just keywords that's listed in your resume. So as Mike mentioned, it should help place those specific keywords to help you get brought up to the top of the pile. Great question. Next slide. This is the final slide, but this basically just is another resource to help with interviewing. I want to say Career Scout helps with that as well to help prepare you for interviews as well. I think that's built in part of the system. So again, another attempt to be a one-stop shop and everything, but this is just another resource that we have that talks about interviewing, so on and so forth. Next slide, I think it's just common interview questions. So maybe I'll do the demo here.
You want me to stop sharing and then you'll share?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
See if we get this working.
I like Career Scout. That's nice.
It's very cool. We just launched it publicly just
While you guys are doing that, does anybody have any just quick questions based upon what you heard, what you've seen? Please, you can unmute yourself and just ask a question if you would love to do that. That's what we're here for today.
All right.
Anybody?
Actually, I do have a lot of questions, but there's a lot for me to ask at the moment.
Start with the first question. What do you have? What's the first question on top of your mind?
The first question I do have in my mind. Okay, so so far what I have to remember is that Career Scout I don't need to pay anything for me to go on Career Scout, right?
You just have to download the Indeed app. It's only mobile available, so you have to download the Indeed app to use it on your mobile device, but it's a free service.
Okay. So do I also have to like log into my account to do anything with that? Okay.
Yeah, you should be logged into your account because it's going to pull your profile from your Indeed profile and then kind of connect so that like what Career Scout does is like link to your profile and helps do the matching and answers your questions. It kind of links those things together.
All right. And the second question I have is that, are you also allowed to update your cover letters too, just like the same way you update your resume as well?
I would recommend it.
It depends on the job. It depends on the situation, what you're applying for. You know?
I don't know. At the moment, I feel like I'm just at the moment I'm very passionate on languages at the moment, but since I'm not exactly sure what job would suit me for that, like aside from interpreters or anything, I'm like changing my major at the moment for it, because on LinkedIn or Indeed, I feel like there's a bunch of the jobs I'm seeing.
So So I would love to tackle you. So what I would do if you're changing your major, right?
I don't know. There's a lot going on at the moment, so
Okay. To answer your original question, tailor your cover letter to the job that you're applying for, right? But
yeah, that's
when
what
you
I do.
use Career Scout, right, Mike, I guess just let me you just jump in. It's an easier way for you to do it without you like physically um going back to the old school way editing and going through the word. It'll help you tailor your cover letter according to your job if it's as the AI type of capabilities. Correct? Did I say that correctly?
I'm sorry, what happened?
Correct.
No, I was saying if you use Career Scout, right,
Yes.
to update your cover letter, that might be an easier way for you and less stressful, so that you're not physically changing your cover letter physically, um, manually all the time.
I guess that makes sense.
That makes sense, right? Okay, cool.
Yeah, and in addition, I'm always going to plug Indeed products, but Chat GPT and obviously and other tools can help with that as well. Is my screen sharing?
Yep, I can see
I
it.
can see your screen.
All right, perfect.
I can't see anything at the moment, but I can, because I'm seeing it from I'm seeing it from far away, but I can see your screen.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, so this is just the job seeker experience. Like I said, the site is pretty straightforward on how to use it, but a couple tips here, like I mentioned about the project manager example. So if you type in senior project manager, but you also want to look at program manager roles, what we call, if in short, you're probably familiar with Boolean Springs, but so you put senior project manager or senior program manager.
Okay.
Should give you a list of both the roles, right? So it can help instead of doing it separately as a project manager and then separately as a program manager. This is just a way to kind of curve that and go through. So if you go through here, senior program manager, save it. Here's a project manager role, save it. And just save this one, Duolingo, which is a popular one. This is where it shows up here, my jobs. So all your roles here are in one place. And obviously it has to apply, interview, so on and so forth. So everything is there for you to see. As far as company page, let me go back here. So let's go back. So as you can see at the top left, it says company reviews. So you have an opportunity for here just to search all the companies that you see or want to see. So let's do Duolingo. This Duolingo in here. Yes, it is. Click the company page, and this is an example of what the company page would look like. So salaries, I guess the jobs, reviews, so on and so forth. So everything from that perspective is pretty straightforward. Here's a find salaries button where you can just look at salaries in general, not just for a specific company, and kind of go and get an idea from there. But yeah, again, I think the goal of this site is to make it as easy and streamlined as possible. And then before I stop sharing, I want to highlight where the alerts section is. So after you put in the search, so on and so forth, senior project manager for United States, or you can, be specific to a certain region, is usually at the bottom here. And you can put in your email, so on and so forth, to get those alerts. Again, I highly recommend that if you're getting burned out of searching for yourself. So I'll stop sharing there. Any questions on any of that stuff or anything?
Any questions, thoughts, comments? We have a few more minutes. Please, guys, just ask your questions so that you could. We want to make sure you benefit as much as possible. Anybody have any questions? Beatrice,
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So yesterday I received an email from a job recruiter, but I don't know if it's real or not because when I checked on the LinkedIn page, he comes from India. So it showed like an Indian job recruiter company. So I don't know if I should respond to it or not.
Did you go ahead, Mike? Go ahead.
Right. I was gonna say it could be real. I don't want to just say for certain that automatically it's not a real opportunity. Some companies outsource their recruiting activities, or there's what's called RPOs, or recruitment process outsourcing, where they might have recruiters in different regions or different locations. We have a global team. There's been times where my recruiter in India has worked on roles in Europe or even in the US. So I wouldn't necessarily just say that as a single indicator. What I would be cautious of is if a recruiter reaches out and says they have a job and they start asking personal information, right? That's where I get concerned. But if they say, I have a job, let's talk, I would say like they open the door to have a conversation, then you can hear a little bit more about what the opportunity is. But if you get like a text or something like have a job opportunity, tell me your information, like don't do that. That's not real. And a lot of times actually they'll use the Indeed name sometimes, and you'll get a text and say I have a job from Indeed. Like we don't text people about jobs. So that's where I would say be careful. If it's just a recruiter, they want to reach out and talk to you about your background, that's probably a safer avenue, and that you might be open to a conversation. But if they reach out and say, we have a job, you can start Monday, tell me your information, that's where I'd say, like, no, disregard that.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And to follow up on that, no recruiter should be asking you any personal information, especially in the beginning of the process, right? So if you get an email or message on LinkedIn or whatever the case may be, do your due diligence and cross-reference. What company do they work for? Is the application that they send legit, right? Make sure to cross-reference if you have any kind of doubt in if the role is real. Try to confirm it as
Yep. Guys, we have room for one more question before we go.
Hi, I have a question. I'm not sure if you could hear me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Okay. So my name is Joanne. Thank you very much for putting together this presentation. I find it really insightful and interesting. I just like to know, in your opinion, do you feel like the job market's going to get better with more opportunities coming up as we're going into the last quarter of the year?
That's a great question.
Sorry to put you on the spot. I've been
That's
looking for a couple months, and I feel that there seems to be a little bit better activity, but I guess want to get some, thoughts on your behalf.
I can jump in, Akwasi, unless you have. I would say what we're seeing probably in the U.S. at a macroeconomic environment is probably the job market is cooling, and I think it has been for some time. There are still some opportunities out there, and I would say what we're seeing is probably different industries are hiring more than others. So I can't say yes or no, it'll get better. I do know overall in a macroeconomic environment, it does seem like it's cooling, so there may be less job opportunities moving forward. But there's what we've been seeing in our research, and just kind of reiterating, is that it's not totally across the board. There's certain industries that are hiring more than others, so it's not like a full-fledged all around. Certain industries are doing more hiring than others. So I'd say keep with it, keep patient. I think the job market's always kind of ebb and flow, so you got to kind of ride the tides a little bit. But I don't have a crystal ball, unfortunately, just knowing it's been in a cooling pattern for probably several months now.
Right. And to follow up from a tech R&D team perspective, I would definitely agree to that sentiment. It is slowing down from that aspect. Doesn't mean opportunities won't grow in the future, but I can tell teams and companies are being way more strategic on how many open headcount they're doing, so on and so forth. So yeah.
Thank you both.
Thank you. And it's almost 1 o'clock. I just want to say thank you to Mike West and Akwasi from Indeed for just being great hosts and sharing information and sharing insights about Indeed. I hope this was extremely helpful to everyone. And I just want everybody to have a great weekend. Listen, I took some notes. I really like that career that Akwasi. Yeah, that's nice. I like that a lot.
Play around with it. It's really cool new AI stuff. We can also do the deck afterwards. I know it's kind of a lot of information very quickly, but part of the deck and like the tutorials in there is to show you like step-by-step guides. So like you can use that if you need help navigating the system. So we can send that to you, Roger, if you want to disseminate that.
Yeah, definitely disperse that. Yeah.
I would definitely download it and play with it. So
yeah. Thank you guys so much. Everybody have a great and amazing weekend.
All right. Thanks, everyone. See ya.
Thank you, guys. Mm.